Come on now. Y'all already know what it is, baby. Episode 2. Look, I am your host, Eric Knight. We got the Heartbreak Prince. We got Mr. Xclusive. And we got, finally, I wish we had a drum roll. We got the Stat Man, also known as the Garden State Stat Warrior. Welcome. Hey, first things first. God did this. Don't get mad with us. So, as we always, let's start off the show and let's really see who really knows their wrestling. All right, Stat Man. What you got for him, man?
All right, y'all. It's my first time here, so excuse me if I'm a little rusty. But you know, I had to hit you with something good. So our trivia question this week has to center around the women. There have been 7 women to win a men's title, so to speak, in WWE history. And I want to see if you guys can name the most recent one and which belt was it. Bonus points if you can think of the nameless champ that won a men's belt as well.
This one got me. I ain't gonna lie.
I don't think I'm prepped for it.
Yeah,
I don't think I'm prepped for it. But we got time though, because I mean we got by the end of the show, I'll be ready. Yeah. I got a name in my head though. I do have one name in my head.
I do too, but I don't know. We'll see what happens.
I have 0.
And I don't have the tablet this week. I have my phone, but I won't be using the Google. I promise. I promise I won't use the Google. I won't use it. I promise. I promise.
All right, we'll see. Well, let's go ahead and get to the start of the week. Let's talk about that Monday Night Raw, baby. I mean, I don't know how many times I gotta say it. 3 hours of heat, 3 hours of fire, 3 hours of just great storytelling yet again. Y'all have no idea how crazy this whole episode has been getting. If you don't know, I mean, we could talk about a few things. I mean, we already know how the show kicked off. We had, Randy Orton and Gunther talking about it, saying, hey, look, Randy talking about, oh, well, look, let me tell you something, you didn't beat me, whatever, this, that, and the third. We had that going on, but one of the main things that we really should start talking about, I mean, come on, Damian Priest getting real serious with the Judgment Day, talking and saying whatever he wants. At this point now, the man's going baby face, talking about these are my people. But you see, what's really going on is the real new Judgment Day. Come on. Look at this. Look at Finn. Look at this. I mean, look, first of all, if anybody wants to be happy, you got to look at this. My man Finn's out here just not caring. He's saying to Damian Priest, look, this is what happened the last time. You didn't care, but you was there when I lost. And I was going to be there when you lost yours. And I was the reason why you lost. But honestly, this is not even something I should be speaking on. The main one that I feel like should speak on the Prince should be the Heartbreak Prince himself. I'll let you go ahead and elaborate because this, I know, again, this is the kind of thing that I know you've been waiting for that push. Speak your piece.
Yo, so we've been having this conversation over and over and over about the Judgment Day, the direction it was going, especially under Damian Priest. It started heating up at the end, but I feel like when it finally started really to catch up, to get its flavor, when Damian Priest finally started to come around, it was just a little too late. And I have continued to be a big proponent of turning the Judgment Day back over to Finn Balor, and I feel like Triple H and the writing squad has finally listened. They've sprinkled a little speck on it, and now we getting ready to serve it up as A1. To see that promo that was cut with Finn Balor, and then the camera pans out, and then you have the new Judgment Day with Finn Balor pretty much sitting at the throne. You got Dirty Dom in the background doing Dirty Dom things, and Liv Morgan is standing there. I love it. It's again another one of those chef kisses right there, and I love it. I want to see where is this going to go. Like I said, I feel like it does something that I feel like has been needed for a while, and that is making Finn relevant again. He is a phenomenal talent, and I feel like his push in the very beginning fell short due to injury, and we just never passed him the rock again. But now the ball is back in his court, and I'm excited to see where he takes this new Judgment Day. Now, of course, we're starting off with this feud right now with Damian Priest, and I like that because we got to kind of finish up that storyline. But the ball is back in Finn's court, and I feel like Finn can definitely be the one that take Judgment Day to new heights, and I'm just loving it.
Yeah. I mean, I think you're 100% right about that, man. When you look at that whole storyline, the whole thing comes full circle. From Finn, they have dotted so many lines into they put so many pieces of the puzzle together. Yeah. I've seen so many stuff that people were online just showing and saying like, hey, look, when you think about it, Rhea had turned on Liv to join the Judgment Day, injured Liv Morgan to and did what she did with Dom during her time when she started in Judgment Day to get Dominic into the Judgment Day, and now those two people have now turned on you, and you are now without gold. This is kind of crazy. Mr. Xclusive, what are your thoughts just as a whole on this whole scenario and the situation that we got going on with this?
It's the long-term storytelling. Y'all already know how I feel about it. Like, look, here's the deal. Like, the long-term storytelling is in full effect. The way everything kind of just fell back into place. And I used to be one of those people, maybe I didn't pay attention to it until it actually happens. But now I watch carefully when you see different storylines approaching and everything, and kind of where those little nuggets are going to come in for the future. And I know I don't want to get too ahead because I know we're going to talk about it at some point because we are doing that Raw review. But what we saw a little bit from, Brunson and Steph, but we'll wait on that. those type of things are the little nuggets that are being planted in the Triple H era, and then we'll go all the way down, and then we're like, okay, yeah, that's the stuff. And so right now with this storyline, I'm loving the whole dynamic. We got the Terror Twins. You could always kind of tell that those two were the ones jockeying for leadership in the Judgment Day. And yes, a lot of people thought maybe Finn was going to be that guy in the early beginnings, but then it started pushing towards Damian. And then, of course, Rhea had her run as the leader. But guess who was never really the leader of this group? That's Finn. Finn was never the leader of this group. And now it looks like he's the leader of this group. So what will the Finn-led Judgment Day look like? We're getting early inklings of what they're going to look like. JD continuing to get choke slams, which seems to happen on a weekly basis. God bless him. I'm a little bit worried for the guy because the guy keeps just getting demolished and choke slams. I mean, it's a really rough deal. But yeah, I'm liking what I'm seeing so far. They've done a really good job. I know when we talked in our SummerSlam on the recap, and go back and watch that if y'all need to go check out our greatness after that. But if you go back and we talked about how are they going to make this storyline continue? Well, slowly but surely, the Terror Twins are going to find their way to try to get their revenge. And they've always had this special connection. So it'll be fun to see how it all kind of develops. And, I'm here for the ride.
And real quick, I'm going to answer that question. I know where I want to see this Finn Balor-led Judgment Day end. And that's with another championship on Finn Balor, putting some spec on that name. I can't wait to see the Prince of Old back in business. So let's go. I'm
you.
for it.
I feel that.
Let's cook.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be good, man. If they do something good with him, give him that push. I would love to see him get that world heavyweight title sooner or
Me
later.
too.
Like it would
He
be a
deserves
really
it.
good look. Yeah, it really does. He really does. He put the work in.
Absolutely.
Hey, Stat Man, gotta get your thoughts on it. How do you feel about this, man?
I like it because this is, correct me if I'm wrong, which I don't think I am. From my what I can remember, this is the first time we've had a main roster heel run for Finn Balor. Because when we had it before, he was Prince Devitt in NXT, which I thought was probably his best run so far in
Yes.
WWE as whole. And unless we're
Absolutely.
talking about the origin of the Demon in NXT, that's the only other time I can think if he was in a better state. But like, this is the first time he's been the focal point for a heel run on the main roster, and I think this is an interesting side. And I like that they're not going to gimmick it up because they killed the Demon character, which still upsets me to this day. They just put it out for anything, and just they made it ineffective. So like, I feel like this could sneakily, possibly with the way they're thinking, they could probably bring back the Demon character. But I don't think they need to, because his Prince run in NXT was amazing and showed that he can be a true heel without needing that devil, that the Demon character at all. So like, the fact that he's here now with heel Finn on the main roster, I'm excited to see where it goes. But like, they got to drop the tag belt somehow. And I'll be honest, like, if anyone was going to get kicked out of Judgment Day, I was never a big fan of JD McDonough. I'm just going to go ahead and say it. I wasn't. I thought he should have been the one that got kicked out. Carlito was still more interesting to me, mainly probably just because of the nostalgia fact. But once they changed up his character and made him JD McDonough, I kind of lost interest. I was more of a fan of Jordan Devlin. I like the Irish Ace. I like him, but I didn't like JD McDonough. I guess in a sense, because of how much I like Finn and the callback to him being trained by Finn to be a wrestler, I'm kind of letting it slide. But for the most part, I've never been a huge fan of JD McDonough. But I'm excited to see where they're going to go with this, because I've been wanting to see a main roster heel run for Finn, and here we go. Now we got it, and it's one of the better ways you can do it, because you just call someone the main championship on your brand. So he's going to be a top story for probably, I hope, at least until Rumble, because this is going to be interesting.
Matt, can I just want to throw it in the atmosphere. Why is in the mind, y'all? So look, here we go. I say make it happen. The Terror Twins versus JD McDonough. Let's go ahead and make our Know Your Wrestling question more relevant and make Rhea a tag team champion with Damian Priest. Let's make it happen now. It could work. Hey, look, Rhea could go with the men.
Yeah.
Rhea could go with the men. Let's make it happen now. I just want to throw it in there and said it was said on the podcast. There we go.
and I want to go, and I want to hit on something too that Russ talked about, was they did do the Demon King gimmick wrong, and I hope that he can bring that back, because that was legit in NXT, and that's the reason why I have that belt, is because Finn carried it, and the way he carried it in NXT was phenomenal, especially with the Demon King entrance and all that. And I felt like every time they brought it out on the main roster, they pooped all over it. Every time he came out in the Demon King, I don't think he won a match yet as Demon King, and that is an excellent gimmick.
It was for the gimmick.
Yeah.
It was just for like the pop, and that's why it was so annoying to me, because like, you think back to like the reason I got into NXT, honestly, God, I shit you not, was my best friend was like, hey, there's this dude who paints he has a thick Irish accent, he has a cool ass demon body paint. I was like, sold, shut up, I don't need to know anymore, I'm watching NXT tonight.
You sold me.
That was like 2015, 2016.
Yep.
And I was like, I'm done. And I loved it. And like, that's the first time I've seen someone get like a holy shit at like a reaction on an entrance from the demon entrance. I've never seen that before. Someone get a holy S word chant on an entrance that they've never seen before, just because of that. I don't think the only other time I can think of they've seen that is probably when Bray Wyatt brought out the Fiend for the first time at
Yes.
at
Yes.
SummerSlam a couple years ago. That's the only other time I've seen people react to an entrance that much, and it was that
Yeah.
match with like Hideo Itami at the time, where he just came out for that one time. It was just like, I don't know who this dude is, but his character and the fact that he did the body paint. I was told he did the body paint himself, which I don't know if that's true or not, but I didn't care. The body paint was
Mhm.
awesome.
It
But I remember
was.
all those great entrances that he
Yes.
had, like the entrance that he had at the Takeover London with the Jack the Ripper inspired one.
Cook,
That
Russ.
was
Cook.
that was one of my favorite entrances I've ever seen in my life. And just the
Yeah.
creepy crawl that he had to the belt on
Yes.
the ramp walking up to it, and I was like, I'm sold. And then there was another one too, and
I'm
forgetting, and
Yeah.
I can't remember. There was another entrance.
It's the one
that
with
he
Samoa
had.
Joe. Was that he had one with Samoa Joe? He came
Oh,
in
yeah.
as well. He had, I think they had like the cage on the ground or whatever. He was crawling on the yeah. But yeah,
Man.
yeah.
And it had that thing that me and my friend were talking about the other day, like to really get over it with the crowd nowadays, you have to have the entrance that either gets the people into it, or it has to have some like a recognizable chord. Like you
Yeah.
remember, like as soon as you hear the glass break for Stone Cold, you know that's Stone Cold.
You knew.
As soon as
Yeah.
like when Cody plays, you have the whoa with him, and that gets the crowd into it. But like when Finn was like on top of the demon character in that entrance, he had that part. I swear to God, I did it every time, and y'all know I did too.
No,
And
yeah.
shouts out
Yeah.
too,
Let's go.
because I
Let's
just
go.
thought I saw it on Facebook earlier today.
I missed
Today
it
is the
so much.
anniversary of the NXT Toronto. We did the first. That was the first event that we did at your house, Elwood, at NXT Toronto. It was
Oh,
like
wow.
5 years
Yeah.
ago today.
Wow.
Yeah. Let's
NXT
go.
So
Toronto.
long ago.
And I
Memories.
remember Finn. I'm pretty sure Finn came out that night, and I know y'all saw my big ass get up and do the whole thing. I swear to God, I
Yes.
did, and I'll do it right
Mhm.
now if his interest is on the
Yes.
TV.
I'm
But
with you,
like
Russ. Let's
it's
go.
Bring it back.
he
Bring
had so
it
many
back.
Bring it
potential,
back.
and then just like the
They have
shoulder
gold
injury
in
just kind
Finn.
of
They really do.
They do. They do.
they
I mean,
do they do.
they have so much. I think, yeah, I mean, just like you guys were talking about, I think the Demon King was such an A1. I love that side of Finn.
Yeah.
But that Prince, when he went to the Prince, like that 2019 run, when he came back around, and I mean, oh man, I mean that whole run, even when he was coming back, like when he came back and did that heel run, he was still getting cheers because that was
That
something
Prince run
people
was their
wanted
way
to
of
see.
bringing like New Japan into WWE, because that's what he was in New Japan, was Prince Devitt. That was
Yeah.
their way of blending that in, and I think they did it well.
Yeah, they hit the nail on the head. I mean, it was so perfect how they did that. And I thought they was going to still kind of go with that train once they got him back to the main roster. They kind of fell off, I felt like, but then when they brought him to the Judgment Day, I was like, all right, I don't even like seeing Finn looking like a middleman. Like I'm not.
I know. I hated it. He's not a
didn't
middleman.
feel right.
Yeah,
Not
it
feel right.
don't. And it's one of those things where it's like I thought at first before he even joined the Judgment Day, wow, this is so crazy thinking about it now. Even I remember that time when it was him, AJ Styles, and Liv Morgan doing that whole Too Sweet, thinking they was gonna do something with that. No, they threw that to the side and said, no, we're gonna just make a whole new group and just do something completely different with Finn. And I think now what they've done, I love it. I can't wait to see what he's gonna do. I think he's gonna make even more gold. And we can talk about that promo that he cut.
Phenomenal.
Come on.
Phenomenal.
Oh my God. You're sitting there pulling up the picture looking like this. Talking about this is over for you. I said to myself, look at this, look how he's doing this, look how he's pulling this off. This is the Prince Finn right here. We are seeing it. That face expression that he hit, even on at SummerSlam. It's the same look. That's that same Prince feel that's saying, hey, look, I'm about to come for everything. Gold, what you have, and I'm going to let you know I've been doing this for a year. I've been waiting. And he even said, I'm going to wait till you get comfortable to just come and attack you. I'm going to wait. This man's been waiting. This man Finn is diabolical. I don't know who's worse, him or Drew McIntyre at this point. But
I prayed.
I prayed.
Oh,
And you know what? Since we're already talking about it, let's just get into the greatness of that storyline. Come on. We starting it off. CM Punk is out there saying, yeah, I lost, but I'm still happy. Seth comes out, throws his shirt off, and says, well, you know what? I don't care. Why don't we do something right now? Why don't you let me in? And just randomly, out of nowhere, I mean, it makes perfect sense. Who else better to bring out and have than Drew McIntyre in the crowd? Just getting their attention. Just saying what he wants because, you know, he prayed. Drew has prayed for this. And honestly, who could be mad? This storyline is so good. I mean, we're watching this develop. Now we were so focused on CM Punk and Drew. And now it's just CM Punk and Seth, and Drew is just out here just playing games. I mean, just out here instigating the whole time. At this point, they were so focused on each other. Drew just had to say some real personal stuff, of course, about the bracelet. The same bracelet that we've seen him pick up at SummerSlam after he beat CM Punk. But you know, within this storyline being great, we get another monkey wrench. And who else pops up and just attacks a man out of nowhere? Oh, the big old Bronson Reed. They said Michael Cole is this man is on commentary. Says somebody call the cops, somebody call the National Guard, somebody call somebody, get a taser. You can't stop Bronson Reed. This man did a tsunami 7 times in a row. The first time, okay, cool. Second time, crowd said, okay, all right. Third time, I mean, the crowd is going even. They're getting even louder every time he got on the top rope. I mean, I honestly can say, as happy as this crowd was, almost reminds me it's as happy as Long Island was when Braun Strowman was beating the hell out of Roman Reigns. And he just kept saying, I'm not finished with you. And the crowd went crazy. Now, if y'all don't know about that, that was sometime in 2017. Now that y'all, we know this, but I'm just telling for the other people. That was a rough time for Roman, but that's a whole nother story. But the crowd was so into this. And I mean, honestly, just like we was talking about, Bronson Reed, they sprinkled a little bit. And, you know, and it wasn't a lot for Bronson. He said, okay, you know what? If you don't want to give me opportunities, I'm going to make some for myself. Now, to pick just a name out the hat, Seth Rollins, is insane. But to do 7 tsunami splashes, hey, I'm all for it. Heartbreak Prince, what's your thoughts, man?
Well, you know my thoughts from the very beginning. I sent out a message to y'all, and in our chat, just saying, is anybody finding it weird that the crowd is actually asking him to continue giving these tsunamis, like to Seth Rollins? You know, the he's like the biggest face right now. The crowd goes crazy when he comes out, but Bronson Reed comes out here and is just demolishing him. And the crowd is eating it up. We want more. Do another one. One more. I mean, it was insane. And Bronson was delivering. And Seth, he sold that very well. I mean, from just the spitting blood up and all of that type of stuff. Michael Cole, it was phenomenal to watch. And I think it is going to do exactly what Bronson Reed needs. Needs is probably a bad word, because Bronson Reed is a great wrestler. We've seen his work at NXT, so we know he can go. But it's going to give him that recognition now. Like, hey, I'm a legit player. And Seth Rollins, hey, that's a big bite, but hey, he's shooting a shot, and it kind of went over with the fans. So I'm interested to see, where does this go? Can Bronson Reed kind of go ahead and carve his way through this Raw roster of just talent and be legit? So we're about to find out, because the crowd in Baltimore surely ate it up. So
yeah, they really did, man. Mr. Exclusive, I know Bronson Reed is one of your favorite guys to see. So what are your thoughts just seeing what he did this week?
Dude, so all right, so as this is happening, right, I'm saying to myself, like, oh man, he's going to the top. All right, he drops him one time. And as the crowd is cheering for him, this is the best thing that can happen for Bronson Reed.
Yeah.
You know, look, and I just want the city of Baltimore, I love you, but y'all are menaces. I mean, what you guys went out there and did was you helped push Bronson Reed to another level. That's what you did, because people knew he was good. And we've seen him in the ring. We've seen the athletic ability. We've seen the agileness of this big man. There might not be a word, but that's okay. How agile this, the agility. There you go. I made up one. Thank you, Statman. The agility of this man. And so we've seen that. But what the Baltimore crowd did on Monday was help grow him in a way, because now the next crowd are going to see him and be like, yo, what is he going to do next? And I will attribute it to the same thing what happened to Mark Henry after Mark Henry did what he did to Cena. Like, people were shocked by it, but they loved it. Like, there was a lot of people that loved it. And I'm not going to say he's going to be Mark Henry, but what I think it'll have that kind of effect where it could push him to another level. Now, if Seth Rollins is the first one, I don't know who else needs to take a break in the company, but be ready, because somebody else who's about to go on vacation is about to get destroyed on Monday night. So just know that's what's about to happen. But I love this for him. And I was sitting there watching it on my phone on vacation, and I'm just seeing him drop it. I'm like, please, you're killing him. Stop, Bronson. Stop. You're killing him. What are you doing? But the best part about it is, and it's what Heartbreak Prince said, is that the energy from the crowd just made everything so much better. And just to hear the crowd call for more on the top face of the company is, one of the top faces in the company is mind-blowing.
Mm-hmm.
It's mind-blowing. And all it did was set up one of those long-term storytelling. That's why I was trying to say a little bit earlier. Just Triple H just said, here it is. Here's a nugget. And I'm just going to leave it right here. So he leaves this right here. So from December or something like that, here he comes. Crumbs. Here comes the nugget. And then Merry Christmas.
That's
the nugget. It's coming. So, no, did it? But just be ready for it, because I'm excited. And it's going to be very sexy. So be prepared, because it's about to get real sexy on Monday Night Raw. It's about to get real sexy. I'm just saying. Just throwing it out there. Just a little bit.
Oh, hey, Statman. What's your thoughts, man? What you got?
So a couple things here. First, I have to point out the Smark in me is still upset that one little backstage interaction that just nullified the whole point of Seth Rollins being involved in this match, where Damian Priest forgave him of his stipulation of never challenging him for the belt ever, even though they agreed to that. I will call bullcrap on that in a heartbeat. It nullified the whole motivation for his hatred of CM Punk in that special guest referee. I had to get that out the way. 2, I've been a fan of Bronson Reed since the first breakout tournament in 2019. He was probably my second favorite person from that tournament after Dexter Lumis. And I won't even go into what happened to the winner of that tournament. But like, I think this is how they just organically elevate a star to the next level. Because Bronson Reed has been on that cusp. He had that feud with Sheamus. He had some other matches too, as well as some other big names. But like, I think it shows that it works what happened on Monday night, because like he hit play on the tsunami like Kendrick Lamar hit play on Not Like Us on Juneteenth, and it just kept going and going. He hit play, and he forgot to turn off the repeat, and it just kept going.
Like us. They're not like us.
Instead of that, they flat like us. They flat like
us.
They flat hell out that boy. Like, it was. I thought it was amazing, because Bronson Reed is he. I think they took away that North American belt from him too quickly, and then once they promoted him, they fired him like a month later, which I didn't like at all. So I don't think he got a legit chance to hold that belt. But I think like they have a chance to now, and I think they got the response they wanted. They got the perfect response on Monday night for the crowd to keep chanting more and more. Because I almost guarantee you he was not supposed to do more than maybe like 4, if that. But the crowd kept they put out, like you were saying, they put out a little bit of breadcrumb to the crowd, see how they responded, and they got the perfect response to it, because they're trying to build a new heel on Raw. Because if you think about it now, they have the Judgment Day as the group heel. They had to borrow Randy from SmackDown and bring him over as the top heel for the belt in a couple weeks. I was about to call him by his whole name, Braun Breaker. Sorry, Braun Breaker is the champion now. He's not chasing the belt. So like he's kind of out of that heel picture in a sense of like where he's chasing the belt. In a sense, he's already got the belt, now he's holding on to it. But he's one of those heels that everyone loves anyway. So now it's like they're building Bronson Reed into that next like top 5 heel. He's not top 3 yet. He's got to get more recognizable with the crowd, but I think Monday was a great start to it because like with him and the Tsunami, his agileness is just perfect enough for the Tsunami to make it work, and it's the perfect finisher for him because it's what he does as far as like his top rope ability to be able to climb up that high, and the way he delivers it makes it look, again, it's hard to fake 350 pounds splashing on you like that, but like he delivers it with like a look on his face, the very small detail of a look on his face where he's trying to hurt you. And they're selling it perfectly. Like especially Seth on Monday, he sold it perfectly. So now it's just they got Triple H, and I have faith in him. There's been some things that he's done where I don't agree with, in the short time he's been in charge. But this is one of those things where I'm like, I'm 100% behind immediately. Take my money. I'll take out 4 mortgages to keep this plan going. I don't care. I love this.
Got the agility, baby.
The agileness of
we
Triple
got that
H.
exclusive vocabulary. We got that exclusive vocabulary.
Something like that. I'm loving it, man. They got to keep it rolling. This is how you build new stars.
Yes.
So kudos. Like, but I'm intrigued to see who gets destroyed this week and who's going on vacation because somebody's getting hurt this week. Yeah. I don't know who it is.
Absolutely.
It's gonna be somebody. It's definitely gonna be somebody. But hey, Raw has been so good. Then we got to talk about that main event. We got to talk about it. First of all, Chad Gable and the American Made new group pop up. And now, he comes out. The crowd is saying, you suck. First of all, this is the new generation of Kurt Angle. If you don't know, now you know. Okay? He comes out. And I'm like, man, this guy, this is gold. This is good right here. But then you got the Wyatt Six. They come out looking crazy. Okay, this is serious. Okay, so we start off the match. We have, Chad Gable, Creed Brothers, going up against Eric Rowan. First of all, the group alone is insane. You got Eric Rowan, you got Joe Gacy, and then you got what? A who? A Dexter Lumis. That's who. That's one of my famous Dex fans out there, if y'all know that reference. This right here, to me, was gold. People love this match. I think them debuting, how they came off was incredible. And I thought the way they even started this off, just showing off just even a few. Of course, we don't get to see Uncle Howdy in the ring yet like that, doing the crazy ring work. No. But we got the others. And, of course, we're not going to get Nikki Cross because, she's crazy. What do we need to see her do anything? She's pretty much done everything she needs to do. She can do this job now. But this right here, I think, was gold. I think how it was presented was great. Some people didn't really agree with all the vignettes that they did. Some people thought I think they believe that some of Joe Gacy's was a little weak. They didn't think Dexter Lumis was all that. I don't care what y'all are talking about. This group here is great. It's gold. And I don't care what you got to say. Look at this. This is demonic at his point, at his peak right here. And I'm not one to really praise none of that stuff. Let's just get that out the way now. But this right here is something that you can tell that Bray Wyatt has made his baby, his child, and has made gold out of this. And now these people are taking this ride. They're taking this, and they are going all the way with this. And I think Triple H is making this amazing. And I ain't talking Spider-Man. Heartbreak Prince, what you got, man?
Man, first of all, I want to take the time to really say how much I appreciate Reddy, Willing, and Gable. I think, I really do hope that Triple H and the rest of the WWE team really give Gable an opportunity to be a title holder. Intercontinental belt, I know we talk about all the time, missed opportunities, but Gable is putting in work. I'm respecting his work, and I just want to give him his love because I'm really liking what he's doing. He's got the new group now, American Made. But what we're seeing with this and the Wyatt Six like you said, it's really TV and entertainment gold. I'm loving what they're doing with the Wyatt Six. I feel like they're doing Bray Wyatt and all of his work so much respect. And it's the match that they put on Monday was again A1, another chef's kiss, because it was just an entertaining match. It told a great story. It was good to see Gacy, Loomis, Rowan all back, in the ring, and just just destroying people, or at least American made. But it was a good match. The crowd was into it. The outcome is what you would expect and what you would want. And I really do like what they're doing. And and something else I want to toss out there, because I don't think we hit on this, but when we did see, Uncle Howdy, in the ring, the nod that he gave to his brother with the same, Sister Abigail finisher. I mean, it tugs on the heartstrings. And so I got nothing but respect for the way they are handling this. And hey, I am strapped in and ready to, to ride this rocket with the Wyatt Six and just see where it goes, man.
Yeah, I agree. And I think in a lot of ways too, even with American Made, losing, I still think in a lot of ways they still look strong.
Yeah.
Roderick Strong. Mr. Xclusive, what are your thoughts and what do you got, man? What do you think, man?
Look, so for me, I'm y'all know me. I'm a big Bray Wyatt person. For those who don't know, I'm a big Bray Wyatt guy. So for me, losing Bray Wyatt around this time last year, I want to say we're about like a week away from it, from the time that he passed away. So, it was tough. I mean, it was tough for me because I just, people make fun of you and it's like you love wrestling and you get laughed at for that. But let me tell y'all all out there right now, it's okay to love wrestling. Don't let anybody tell you because you love wrestling, you funny or you this and you that. No, you're a wrestling fan. We love you. Just remember that. We love you. They don't love you. We love you. Anyway,
Cook, Mr. Xclusive.
But with that being said, my love for Bray Wyatt was just big time. So when I watched the documentary, then I start to see them kind of plant the seed for this. I was excited. Do I expect it to be exactly like Bray's? No. Do I expect them to do a good job of, at least doing a good job of, putting out his vision? Yes, I do expect that. And that's what they're doing so far. Long-term storytelling. Let them take their time. There's some people say, oh, they're taking too long to bring it out to get things going. No, let it marinate. Let that thing go in the slow cooker. This is a slow cooker type thing. Let that thing marinate. So what they're doing right now, I love what they're doing. Now, I don't like this somewhat for Chad Gable because I think the way the title situation is set up right now, it's hard for me to see him winning the title anytime soon. Gunther's not losing that belt. I mean, unless they make Chad a face and he's the one that goes for, which would be a cool storyline, which you could go back and say he couldn't get the Intercontinental Championship from him, but now he can go after the world title. But they would have to make them, a face group before in my opinion, before that can happen. But at the way it looks right now, I just don't see it. Braun Breaker's not losing. I don't think he's losing the belt no time soon. He could, but it doesn't make sense, especially if you're trying to get him where he needs to be. And unless he goes to the other brand in the draft, I just don't see it right now. The tag team run is the only thing I can see, and I don't want that for him. He deserves more than that. So that's the only part. I like American Made. I like the group. I think that will be a good thing as we go along. But it's just he's a guy that deserves a title because he's been, if not one of the best, like top 5 wrestlers so far this year. He's definitely the most underrated wrestler that they've had this year. He's been able to do a little bit of everything in the ring, on the mic, and he's selling all of it. He's done a really good job of that. So with that being said, I just want to see at some point, yes, like Heartbreak Brother said, Heartbreak Prince, I want to see him get that title run. I just don't know if it's going to happen anytime soon. It's a log jam. But keep doing your thing. I love what I'm seeing so far.
Yeah, I agree. I think it is kind of it does look like it's a tough look for him. I want to piggyback on what you said. Maybe he could face Gunther down the road. I could see possibly maybe a Royal Rumble WrestleMania kind of thing. Maybe they bring that back, bring like a storyline back, and maybe tie it together. Just like you were saying, you couldn't do it for the IC title, we'll do it for the World Heavyweight title, make it even better. Stat man, what you got, man? What are your thoughts?
I enjoyed it. And I hate myself for saying it, but it made me laugh. It was Team Angle 2.0 versus Wyatt Family 2.0, but I think it was a good tribute to both. Because like Chad Gable, you want to talk about a fumble? Did anyone at any inkling believe that Jason Jordan was Kurt Angle's illegitimate son when you had Chad Gable right there? Like even Stevie
Missed
Wonder wouldn't have believed that, and
opportunity.
he can't see anything. Like that was just god awful stupid storyline telling. But like Chad Gable, like if you and I don't want to deviate too much, but if you know anything before he left, if you remember anything about Ricochet, he said damn near yes to everything. And he was just a company man. He got what he got and he made it work. And Chad Gable's done the same thing. He's got what he's given and he made it work. And now, of course, we don't agree with all the decisions because, of course, I know Elwood's not the only one that believes that he should have won at WrestleMania. I think he should have beat Gunther several times over. But that's neither here nor there. But I like what they did. If you remember the beginnings of Wyatt Family, especially in NXT, Bray Wyatt didn't do most of the wrestling. He did the promos, and he just watched his goons, Eric Harper or Luke Harper and Eric Rowan, rest in peace, do the work in the tag team there. And then they added Braun Strowman and made it even better once they got down the line and more established. But like he didn't do the wrestling when they first started. He did the promos, and he was damn good at the promos. So like I like the fact that they just had Uncle Howdy outside the ring watching the whole time. I thought that was a great tribute. I think what him and Bray cooked up before Bray's untimely passing last year is something that we can enjoy for a while now. And I think the match structure was great too because Eric Rowan is not the same as he used to be. He wasn't the most agile person before, but he was a believable big man, and like they saved him for the right spots because he's not your workhorse to go through the match. He's your big guy to come in off a hot tag and just knock people out. And I like the new character dynamic of Joe Gacy and Dexter Lumis. Again, I've always been a fan of Dexter Lumis since I saw him in the breakout tournament, so I was always a fan of him anyway. But I like it's a very obvious tonal shift from what he was before because he was just a creepy, quiet dude. Now he's like the devout follower of Uncle Howdy, and I think it's working so far. I think what they're doing well too as well is they're not letting anyone really else speak except for him and Eric Rowan because they have the two close connections to Bray Wyatt. So they have the most legit story to tell of everyone in the group. And the other three are just kind of there playing their part. And I think that's perfect. So like when we actually hear Dexter Lumis and Joe Gacy speak, which I think we will, it's going to mean that much more because hopefully they plan it for a time where it weighs that much more and it's more in a meaningful situation. And I can't wait to see what they do down the line because there's so much potential for this group going forward. That you have your tag team, you have your big man, you have your triple threat tag, you have your 3-man tag team if they ever do make those 3-man tag belts, which is I think has been a rumor for like 10, 15 years now. But I like where they're going with this, and it sucks that Gable's the one that has to take the L in the first go. But I think Gable, if you really know what you're watching, Gable's been one of the better wrestlers over the last 5 years, and I don't think it's going to affect him too much to take this L, but like it still sucks to see him take it. But I think he still has potential with American Made, and I'm excited to see where they're going with that because him and Otis I thought were great because they had that great backstage pair and they were really close friends because of their like Olympic history together. And like little known fact too, Julius Creed also was an Olympic. He also tried out for the Olympics too as well in 2016, if I remember correctly, in Greco and freestyle. And he placed 5th. So they have that Olympic history, maybe not together, but it's something they can bond with. And, we've seen where people have a stronger connection backstage. It makes their storyline on camera even better. So I'm excited to see how that rolls around. And, I thought the Creeds were pretty good themselves.
Yeah, man. I thought seeing the Creed brothers like with Chad Gable, I think even, because I think we had talked about it before Just kind of seeing Chad just interact with them. And I really thought, I was like, okay, so what are they going to do with this? I was like, I like this. I like the, because I'm not going to lie. I like, Alpha Academy. It was all cool and everything. But then when I started seeing him with the Creed brothers, I was like, okay, now we're getting serious. And I like the pairing with him and Otis and Tozawa and Maxine. I liked it. I really did. But then it was kind of getting to a point where I was like, all right, I don't want to see Chad looking like a joke out here. I don't like seeing this. And I like the direction that they took with it. They made him more serious. They made him more of a problem. Now, I do think he's always kind of been a problem in the ring in a good way. But I think now seeing him with this group, it's real serious. Even I don't know why I can't think of the girl that's with the Creed brothers, but even her, like she's really good in the ring too. She's I believe they had her in one of the tryout, not the tryouts, but I think it was like one of the tournaments that they were doing a few months back. She had a match. I mean, phenomenal. But I think that I like how they're doing with this group. I love the Y6. I think what they got going is really good. I think it's going to be solid. But, we got to get to the next one. And we got to talk about NXT, baby. We're talking about, NXT. We're talking about the Great American Bash week 2. Now, we seen last week. Last week was a banger after banger after banger. But we got to talk about this week. First one, we really got to talk about. Some people felt a little certain way about it. Some people thought it was a little controversial. But I thought this was a great match overall. We got to talk about it. Kelani getting that W over Tatum Paxton. Now, some people thought, we're not really still feeling Kelani, but come on, stop playing. Stop playing with this girl out here. Let's really stop playing like she's not out here doing it, okay? Homegirl out here hit a Spanish fly at the end of the match and then hit a frog splash with one leg and still hit that perfectly. I mean, you want to talk about athleticism, I think Kalani's been had. But one real interesting thing, because we had talked about this before, the dynamic of having Wendy Chu involved with this. Now, I don't know what it is with them and this whole little doll thing. Now, I love the fact that it is a black doll with the curly hair. I think that's very accurate for Kelani. But what I think is so crazy about this whole thing, I kept trying to figure out, what are they doing with Wendy Chu and Tatum Paxton? Are we creating more contenders for this NXT Women's North American Champion? Because honestly, if you ask me, it seems like that's what they're trying to wind up, but at the same time, it's almost like they're trying to create a tag team with them. But at least that's what we thought. But not anymore, because now that we've seen that Tatum Paxton has now turned on Wendy Chu, it throws everybody a monkey wrench. But the main thing here is seeing Kelani Jordan getting this W. We talked about it before. Her win at Battleground was a little controversial, but now we are seeing really good title defenses. This is her second one now. A lot of near falls, a lot of crazy near falls, but for the most part, Kelani killed it. And in my opinion, it was a great match. But I can't lie. I'm gonna let everybody else speak their piece about the Heartbreak Prince. What you think, man?
Well, for me, I'm just gonna keep it short in the sense that I think Kelani Jordan is battling something that we talked about before, where it's like she's the champion we didn't want to see, but she is so good and she's growing on me big time, and I think a lot of people, probably a lot of fans, and I could be off base here, but a lot of us for that women's North American title wanted to see either Lash Legends or one of the other, Soul Ruka, or one of the others carry the title. And Kelani Jordan was just such an unlikely pick or unlikely choice. But the matches she has put on, the title defenses that she has put on in the last, month or so or whatever, have been just phenomenal if you really are watching it and understanding, what you're seeing her do in the wrestling ring. And it, to me, each time more and more kind of solidifies, why they decided to go this route with Kelani Jordan. And, again, her athleticism in the ring and some of the things that she's pulling off and doing. That match with Sol Ruka, her title defense, last week on NXT. I mean, all of that stuff is really starting for me anyway, to kind of rewrite my opinion of Kelani Jordan. And again, I want to see how far she can carry this title, because I think I think she's phenomenal and she definitely has the talent. It's just, I think she's battling with the fact that people wanted someone else to have the belt, and it's going to be hard for her to overcome. But if she keeps putting on these matches, she'll get there. At least that's my opinion.
Yeah, definitely. Mr. Xclusive, what you think, man? What's your thoughts?
Yeah, well, she's been killing it. I think the biggest thing is, and I know people are just like, harping on this. It's the truth though. Like, nobody picked her to win this match, to win that 6-way match, but she has done exactly what I think a good first time champion should do. She's been able to carry the belt so far, and it's giving it prestige right off the bat. She's putting off really good matches. The key obviously will be is how long can she carry this. I think in order for it to really get I think personally she needs to hold it for at least 6 months at the minimum to kind of get this thing, get the title prestige going. There's going to be so many people coming after her in the next 6 months. There's so many different contenders that can come after her, and I think Wendy Chu's probably going to be the next one. I think that that little moment that she had with Paxley was a little bit interesting, but for me, I think she'll be a very interesting opponent, because I think that the psychotic wrestler is becoming a real popular thing. That's the one that we all love, the one that has that little bit of you don't know what's going on, what's happening right now. And there's so many people trying to do it. Some people do it well, some people don't do it not so well. Leo Rush. But even with that being said, Wendy Chu's doing a really good job at it, and I think that she will probably be the next person to get a run at it. But I think I think Kelani will be able to, move past her and keep it going. I like what she's doing. Keep putting in the work, baby girl. You making it happen.
That's right. Stat man, what you got, man?
I think that the first thing you got to realize too, as well, with Kelani Jordan, is that with a new belt, like, do you really want to see someone lose that immediately? Because I feel like if you really ask someone who wants to care about it, if they lose that belt immediately, it just delegitimizes the whole belt and makes it pointless to why they created it. Which I think this belt makes sense, because there's so much potential and talent with the female roster on both rosters, main and NXT, that they needed another belt. I think, if anything, the tag belts are just kind of pointless most of the time. But I think, like, to have a new belt, you have to legitimize it by having a strong reign at first. And I think she wasn't the pick. Of course, everyone has said it so far. She wasn't the pick anyone picked to win it. I think my pick was like Sol Ruka to win that ladder match, if I remember. But like, you have to have a legitimate first run for a first time belt out to actually get used to it. And I think a lot of people are just sold off the fact, oh, I didn't want her to win. Then they're just kind of throwing it out. But like, you got to give it time. You got to let it cook a little bit. You know what I'm saying? So like, she had a good first match with Sol Ruka at the next pay-per-view. So I think that was a good start. And it's just, you got to find these other girls to come in to kind of go at her and make it more of a a content, like some kind of, it's like some heated contention and everything. And like, it's going to take time. Some of these women aren't going to hit like they all are. I personally don't understand Wendy Chu's whole character. I think it's just kind of, it's a weird knockoff of Mickey James when she first showed up with that whole kind of obsession kind of thing, and just kind of, her whole vibe is just kind of, in today's lingo, whatever the kids say, her vibe is just off to me, and I don't get it. I don't get it at all. But like, hey, I want to see her have a good reign. I think she's got the talent to do it. I think she's athletically gifted. Like, I think she can have some really good matches. But I think, like, they want to find. I don't think they're going to struggle to find people to go against her in this first title reign. I think the struggle is going to be to find someone who's legitimate, who the crowd will believe, especially seeing as most people didn't want her to win the belt in the first place. But like, at the same time, like, you think about it, with the other names, some of those other names in that ladder match were more established. Last Legend was a favorite. Sol Ruka was probably more of a favorite. Mia Yim, or I'm calling her Mia Yim, whatever. She was more of a favorite, established favorite of the people. But like you think about it, I want to compare it to when Chris Jericho first won the AEW championship. In a sense, you got to go.
Mhm.
It may not be the conventional fan favorite because like at the time, Hangman Page I think was hot, and I think it was the perfect bit of long-term storytelling. Of course, you could probably use the same argument against me and say you could put it on the more established person, but I think like just because it's not the person you think it's going to be or the person you want it to be, doesn't mean they're not going to switch it up at the end or build up to something even greater at the next time. You just gotta let it happen. You gotta let it just play out and see where it goes, and just let her have her time. Because I think she was going to get a belt opportunity eventually. Because I think her talent speaks for itself. So like, it's just you gotta let it happen. Sometimes you gotta let it play out, and give them a chance to tell the story in the long time. Because if anything we know about Triple H and Shawn Michaels, they're about telling stories, and it's not going to be immediate payoff, and it's going to piss some people off at first, a lot of the time. But you gotta let it play out and let the story happen before you can give a full judgment on it. I think, and I think this is one of those times.
I agree. I mean, I think you guys all had great points on that. I don't really feel like there's much I can even add to that because, I mean, think about it. I think it's a very valid points from everybody. But I mean, if we want to talk about something that was valid, something that was almost, in my opinion, comical. Because if you watch these guys on Impact, you couldn't believe it. But people were invested. Let's go ahead and talk about it. Let's just get right into it right now as we say.
Let's talk
look at
about
this. Look at the rascal. They're sitting there helping Wesley, helping this man up. And I thought to myself, okay, all right, this is a real heartfelt moment. Now, to be fair, as a stat man would say, the bootleg Ricochet. Honestly, I really thought he was going to be one to turn, just from how he was standing at first. But, of course, not. They said that Wesley went berserk. But if you ask me, I think he was possessed. I don't know what he was doing when he was doing this. I mean, like, I'm saying to myself, okay, you literally almost just killed both of your partners. But now you're down here looking like this, just possessed. And I thought to myself, okay, even if you were just pissed off, I'd have just let this slide. But playing the whole I'm possessed, I'm
zoinks,
whatever. Now, it was a huge shock factor. Don't get me wrong. I thought this was a great thing that Wesley needed because, again, this is one of those kind of moments where you look at this kind of character and you think to yourself, what else can you do with him? Not much if he's really stale after a while. I think he was hot when he had the NXT North American champion. And then when he got injured, he really lost a lot of that hype. When he came back, not everybody was really feeling him like that, which I understand. It happens. Hey, it is what it is. Comes back. Now you need the Rascals. Now the Rascals are back. All right. Now, I don't know what the trend is with WWE this week, this month, with, hey, let's just break up groups and tag teams. We're kind of seeing it with the New Day. We already seen it with the Rascals. We're seeing possibly with A-Town Down Under. I mean, I know we're a little ahead of topic, but I mean, there's a lot of tag teams and groups that are just diminishing in front of our eyes. I mean, groups that have been around for years. This one, I'm not too big on. I'm not the biggest on really caring for it. I think even when they all came back, I said, all right, cool. I do like the storyline where they're trying to go with it. Wesley saying, you left me, this, that, and the third. I get it. He did. I mean, he had his own situation, which nobody ever really talks about, which I get it. Personal situation. But I mean, if you want to make it personal, talk about it. Say something else. Make me more invested because, I mean, the fact that you're saying that he left you and you was all alone, I mean, even when he left, bro, you shined. You had a title run. So what are you really upset about? Honestly, this is one of those moments where I don't know. What are you upset? Are you Vanessa Williams and Soul Food? Are you pissed off? That's how you feel, Wesley? Is that what you thinking? Look, I don't have nothing more to say about this. Mr. Exclusive, speak your piece, bro.
I don't know if I can follow that up.
I'm,
To be honest with you, I'm just gonna say, this ain't it.
Yeah, no.
You know, it's just not it. First of all, the Rascals have only been back for what, a whole solid 2 weeks, maybe 3, whatever. It just wasn't enough story there for me to see this coming, for anybody to see this coming. I don't even know if I care why, because I couldn't even get invested in it, because there was no story behind it. And I'm really surprised that this was served up, by NXT and Shawn Michaels, because they've been cooking with storylines and things of that nature, have kind of been on fire. But like you said, recently it seemed like they're on a tear of like, hey, we're breaking up these teams, and this one here, I didn't see the purpose. It's just hard. I mean, they did what they could to sell it and all that kind of stuff in the moment that it was happening, but it just, I didn't have any attachment to it, because there was no real story there. I said, the Rascals had just come back or been reintroduced or whatever a couple of weeks ago, and already there's a betrayal. It's like, all right, well, I guess I'll wait and see what comes out of this. But I don't know. It ain't it. This is a F, a solid F.
I feel your heartbreak, bro. It's just not. Yeah, it's not it. That's what I said. This is probably one of the most comical segments I've seen on NXT. It truly is. Mr. Exclusive, speak your piece. What you got, man? What you think?
Man, I'm with Heartbreak Prince on this one. I really didn't care. My thing is, I've never been a big fan of all right, ability in the ring. A1, as my man HB Prince would say, A1 all day. But the problem is, he doesn't gravitate to me. I as a wrestler, he's amazing, but I just don't like. He's not great. He's not a great talker. So when they came back a couple weeks, I didn't know who they were. I had to go and research. I'm gonna be as honest with y'all as possible. I was like, who are these people? I have no clue who they are. They got them all hyped. Then I did a little research. It's okay. All right, they best friends or whatever. So the only thing I can see from this is maybe they want that, TNA has been sending all their people over to, all of their main people over to NXT, and NXT has sent some people, but maybe none of their main people. And technically Wesley is one of their main people. I mean, he was the North American champion. Maybe he's gonna go over there and cause some chaos and whatever. But to be honest with you, I didn't really care. My man started going into psycho mode. I was like, oh, this is a little bit rough. I was a little bit worried about it more than anything. But hey, it's one of those things that maybe I'll be honest with you guys. I don't know what storyline they're trying to go with for this. I'm actually a little bit worried. I was just sitting there like, Elwood said it best. It's like, all right, you've been cooking, and then you get this, and it's like, what is this? What are you serving me right now? I do not like Brussels sprouts.
Yeah, I was just thinking.
If you're gonna give me something, give me some steak and a baked potato.
Don't give me no.
I do love some Brussels. Speak for yourself, bro. I love Brussels sprouts.
There's always one.
You know what's that, man? You can have my Brussels sprouts.
You can have mine too.
I'm sending them to you now.
I know where both of you guys live, and I'll be there in 30 minutes. I'll take your Brussels sprouts.
Say less, sir. Say less.
You can't have my cornbread. You can have these
Brussels. Can't have my cornbread.
Bro, I'm taking the cornbread as gas money because you made me come get your Brussels sprouts, so that's going already. But I don't want to say I don't care. Because when they came back, I thought it was a great pop when the Rascals came out with Budget Ricochet and Zach Wentz. Because I remember when it was MSK when they were tag team champions. I had a lot of fun watching their matches before Zach Wentz just had his personal problems. I think they did the story wrong. I think it would be better if Zach Wentz was the one to turn heel, because he's the one who got fired. You look at it like, picture it this way. Of course, I would have done it probably a little bit longer. Maybe give two of them like a tag team championship that they might opportunity that they would have lost. Not like Finn Balor where he cost it, but they lost because of like some accidental bump or something like that Zach Wentz caused him to lose the match, and then he turns heel. And then in like, the post match or whatever, the next week, either post match or the week after, then he's like, hey, I'm glad we lost, because when I got fired for what I was going through and I was in my darkest time, because like if you know what he went through, he was going through problems with WWE, he's going through problems with his wife, but I think he figured it out because he's with Gigi Dolan now, lucky son of a gun. But like he was
That's
going through
crazy.
some real dark stuff. Like he could have been like, hey, I was at my darkest, lowest point, and you didn't reach out to me. Only he did, and that beat Budget Ricochet. And then they turn on him. And then in that sense, I think it works better for TNA if they did it that way, because then like with Wesley turning heel now, they go back to Impact. Why would he follow them? He has no reason to follow them. He beat them off his own. He beat them. Pause. No, did he? He beat them on his
No
own
diddy.
show and sent them back to Impact. Why would he chase them after he already beat them? If Zach Wentz and Trey Miguel beat them and turned heel and beat on them, no, did he? If they beat him down and then they run back to TNA, then you have a top guy from NXT, a former North American champion, going to TNA. That helps TNA. So I think they have the right story. They just have the wrong people playing the wrong parts, because it makes no sense. Like you have a fight, someone comes to your house and they challenge you to a fight, and you beat and you whoop their butt. Are you going to follow them back to their house for round 2? No, you're going to let them go run away and not care about them until they come beat you up. But if someone comes,
Bronson
if you
Reed.
go to someone else's house, like if you show up at someone else's house and you turn on them, you better believe and the roles are reversed in that sense, because I was about to explain it completely wrong. But if they show up on the show that's not theirs, they turn on him after their long history that they have, because the Rascals were fun as hell in TNA. And a little bit that I watched TNA in the mid 2010s, they were really fun. They were like X Division fighters in the tag team, and I thought they were hilarious. But like if they turn on them, then it boosts ratings for TNA, because we're watching it, we're rolling over to see what's going on, because Wesley is over there trying to get his get backs. But I can understand why you guys don't care, because I think they did the right story, but the wrong sides are on the people on the wrong sides. I just think they didn't do it right in the right order.
Yeah, I highly agree with that. I think you hit the nail on the head. I think the storyline is there. I think it is just they picked the wrong people, because sometimes they want. It's like I feel like every time I see a 3-man group, I immediately think of the Shield. I always think about who they picked to turn, how they did it, the effect. The one guy in the crowd yelling "no" right before Seth hit Roman in the back. No, he's seen it, and I'm not gonna lie, I get PTSD anytime I see somebody standing near somebody with a steel chair. I literally thought Kevin Owens was gonna do it, but we'll get to that sooner or later. But I agree. I think the wrong people were put in the wrong spots. I do think if Zach Wentz was the guy that turned, that might have been a different outcome. But I guess to see Wesley, for him to do it, I guess maybe they wanted to. Maybe I feel like in some ways, maybe they say, okay, maybe some people are saying he's lacking this and the third. Let's give him a little bit more of an edge. And I think that's what they tried to pull off with that. So
I'm gonna say something, and it may not be the most popular opinion.
I'm gonna say so.
But like, I think that Wesley is a better version of Trick Williams, and I'm not a big fan of Trick Williams. I think he's great in the ring. He connects with the crowd, but I think he's weak as fuck on the mic. I can't stand him when he's on the mic. I can't. That's just me. I said it. I don't care.
Oh, no,
That's fair.
I actually
take that
agree
to your
with
mama's
you.
house. I don't think
fair.
he's on the mic, and I just think he's a more agileness version of Trick Williams.
Agile.
And
Exclusive vocabulary.
I'm not big on him, and I think he works still better as a face. But then again, I also think like he might have just been on his own thing. He's like, I saw Tama Tonga doing that mumble thing a couple months ago, so I want to see if I can top it with some other weird stuff. And then he just kind of went off.
Oh man, no, I mean, I think, man, Statman, I think you got it, man. I think that's. He said, I mean, so I see what you mean. I think, I think when it comes to Wesley being on the mic, it is very cringe. It is very bad. It's hard, pause, to even like really listen to him talk sometimes. It's almost unbelievable. But I mean, we want to talk about something that's been improving and something that has been believable. Talk about AEW. I mean, if we want to talk about it, man, let's talk about it. Shout out to Trick Willie. I mean, Dynamite. I mean, again, improvements like crazy. Storylines have been getting better. They kicked off the show at MJF. Of course, greatness is always.
Thank you,
already
MJF.
starting. You know what I'm saying? Thank you again, man.
They needed you, brother. They needed you.
They needed you bad, and it really shows. I mean, they started off just the show with him, and then we continue a little bit further on, seeing Mariah May. And Mariah May, we know she's been having a huge situation in this whole storyline with Toni Storm, and I think lately it's been building up. I do think it's a little. I'm not going to say repetitive. I like the direction that they're going with it. I like the attacks that Toni keeps doing to Mariah. This might be the second week I think we've seen this happen. What I do love is this dynamic right here. Look at this. Toni Storm ready to take that same shoe she was bashed in the head and get Mariah. But look at good old Ref Aubrey. She don't let that happen. She don't let that slide. She doesn't let that happen and be a thing. She says, "No, Toni, this ain't you. Give me that."
No.
Toni had man. She don't want to let Toni do this, and I thought to myself, okay, what are we gonna get to by next week? Because at this point now, for the last couple of weeks, we've been seeing Toni really kind of just do these side attacks. We've seen Mariah May. She said a couple of promos. I thought the other week she had cut a promo as Toni Storm. I thought it was amazing. Timeless Toni Storm. That's how she came out. So I think so far we're seeing this progress. But to be fair, I will say for this particular storyline, I need them to cut a couple more promos together against each other. I think maybe a little bit more of a face-to-face. Doesn't have to be right there in your face, here, whatever. We don't need all of that. Shoot, you can have one in the ring, one by the ramp. But I do think there needs to be a little bit more of just a little bit more on the mic. I think that might be the only thing I think I say this might be a little bit of a problem. The storyline is still progressing. But I do think that is probably the only issue I have with it. Overall, I think so far it looks like, the women are kind of really taking over so far for AEW. I mean, if you're not talking about MJF, talking about a few things. But so far, I think this has become an A1 segment for the women's division. Started off, Heartbreak Prince. What's your thoughts?
Man, I agree with what you were just talking about, especially when you talked about them having promos against each other. I do think that is a necessary thing that needs to happen. The promo that Mariah May had 2 weeks ago, where she was in the all black, kind of with her feet up on the couch, and the way that she interacted, during that interview was awesome. And then she came out as timeless Toni Storm. I'm loving that the dynamic of this story, where it's like Mariah May is almost feeling sort of like Toni Storm in this weird way. Meanwhile, when I see Toni Storm, you kind of see her like unraveling, as Toni Storm, like she's kind of unhinged, and I kind of enjoy that. Obviously, as you see her now with the heel getting, trying to get her get back, and it's just really building on this match that we're kind of starting to really anticipate. And I think it's great. I do think it needs to have some promos, that back and forth feel between the two of them. I like what happened this week with Toni Storm, you kind of delivering the picture with the Mariah die on the back and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I mean, this is what the AEW women's division needed, and they're getting it, and they're actually kind of giving it time, which is great. And again, I can't wait to see where this goes. I can't wait to see this match. And it's in this weird thing where I don't know if Toni Storm is really going to be the victor, because Mariah May is really cooking right now, and she's kind of hot. And so I'm interested to see kind of what the outcome of this match is going to be. And that's what I love about storytelling, as Mr. Xclusive always like to talk about. It's the long game. It's the long-term storytelling, and they're doing it really well.
They are. They really are. Mr. Xclusive, what's your thoughts, man?
So to kind of piggyback off of Heartbreak Prince, the only twist that I think I would have done with it, when it comes to, and due to Eric Knight, the one twist that I probably would have done with this was I would have had maybe just to extend it out. Maybe, hey, Toni Storm's out for like a month. Maybe a month, maybe in a half a month, maybe a whole pay-per-view go. I don't know. Maybe a pay-per-view goes by 8 to the most. But I would have had, her come out each week in full attire, Mariah May in full attire. I'm the new one. I'm the new, I'm the mindless Mariah May. I don't know, but I would have had it where she comes out and she's in the marvelous Mariah May. Let's give her something nice. The marvelous Mariah May. She comes out each week. She's in full gear. She's Toni Storm. And then maybe about a month goes by, and then out of nowhere, just when Mariah thinks she's at the peak of it, here comes Toni Storm. That's probably the only difference I would have done with it. I think I agree with Eric where they do need a little bit more FaceTime going back and forth. Hey, somebody could be via satellite. You know how they put, how they'll put somebody on the big screen and have them go there. That could have happened, something in that range. But it's still a good storyline. So let me not completely trash or try to make it seem like I'm trashing the storyline. It's a good storyline. Just a couple of tweaks that I would have done, and that's what I would have done in it. But I like what I'm seeing right now. I need my girl to come out on top. I would like to see Timeless Toni Storm win this, but if she doesn't and Mariah May ends up winning this, there's the way it's going, I think it could really work out for her. And this is something that they said sometimes that AEW doesn't do well, and that's build new stars. I said sometimes, not all the time, but this would be a good way to build up a new star. So, and this is that way I could see them giving her the title under that circumstance. And they got the right person going up against her to make her into a star. So we'll see how it goes.
I agree, man. I really agree. Stat man, what's your thoughts, man? What you think?
Stat man's on mute.
Yeah.
That man silenced himself.
The dog was about to bark, so I had to mute myself real quick. But I was going to say, if we're going to give someone their props, I think we really need to give Toni Storm her props, because she's been carrying this women's division for the better part of a year or so now. Especially while Britt Baker was gone, while they took their time with Mercedes Moné. And I'm speaking of which, I'm afraid what the repetitiveness of what could happen, because we talked about Camille a couple weeks ago off the show, and Moné and what they're going to do, and how are they going to split her up? Because Camille legit by herself is a scary woman. It's a scary individual. So are they going to betray her too, and just have the repetitiveness? But to stick on topic here with Mariah May and Toni Storm, I think the potential here is really good. I think the character of Toni Storm, I wasn't a fan of it at first. She won me over with Timeless Toni Storm, just because with her backstage segments, eventually got me to crack up a little bit more. Her match work is very solid. I thought she's always been a good ring worker, even back when she was just regular punk rock Toni Storm in WWE. So I thought her match quality was great. Mariah May has been, I think, really good at her character. So I'm excited to see what they can do, and given the time and everything. And I randomly thought about it too. I think while you were talking Heartbreak, just because I thought of a random stable. I wish I could. I wish I could put her in a time machine and go back to 2016 and put Toni Storm, Timeless Toni Storm, with the Vaudevillains as a stable. I think that was magic to her.
Oh my god! I love you for this.
That's a good pairing.
I love you for this.
Yeah,
that's a good pairing.
I love what she's doing with. I love what she's doing with it, and I think she deserves where it's going now, and that she deserves the spotlight because she's been doing great for the last year. And I think Mariah May's been a good understudy and could be the swarmy heel to kind of mess everything up. Because I still don't know what they're doing with Mercedes Moné, because you showed the picture. I don't know what they're doing with her and Camille, because like that's speaking of,
we're gonna
like we were talking before the
let's
show,
go
like
ahead.
we were talking
Yeah.
about that, like random parents that make no sense. That's one that makes no sense to me.
So yeah, let's go ahead and get into it. So the biggest thing right now with them, right now with Mercedes Moné, the DMD, Britt Baker, right now they have this whole thing that's going on. Britt Baker just made a return. She had returned right after the last pay-per-view they had a Forbidden Door, which we know. Come on, look at that face. How are you gonna say no to Britt Baker? Come on. Now Mercedes Moné comes out last week and says, I have a little bit of an enforcement. So all of a sudden, she brings out Camille. Now, we've talked about Camille before. Camille is now, if you don't know about Camille, she's been an NWA Women's Champion. She is a true powerhouse. You want to talk about somebody that can go up there with Rhea Ripley, possibly with the same strength as China? Yeah, I'm going to say Camille is one of those people. So if you haven't seen, you need to find out about her now. I also could say I think she could also go up toe-to-toe in terms of strength with Jordan Grace. That might be a crazy hot take, but I'm going to say it. But, I mean, when we look at this, I think so far what they're doing, Mercedes Moné, I think they're trying to they're building her as a good heel. And I think right now what they're doing is, I mean, it's to the point even when my wife Cameron, when she sees Mercedes Moné, she literally says, I can't stand seeing Mercedes on here. And I'll ask them, so what's wrong? She said, it's just everything about her. I can't stand it.
That's crazy.
And I said, well, you know what, babe? She's doing her job perfectly right. I said, because if you hate her, if you hate the core, then that's a heel's job. And I think right now, what they're doing, they're playing this really well. They're playing it with her, with the whole thing with her being the CEO. And now they've worked it in to where she's doing stuff and she's working with the EVPs, the Young Bucks, which we know they've been running amok on AEW for the last few months. So I think so far they are building her to be a really strong heel, good heel, and an annoying heel. I wouldn't say as a heel as MJF, but I think a heel where she just says snobby things, maybe comes off as obnoxious, not caring, et cetera, et cetera. And it works. And it works for her. And it works for this character. And I really think it works for even Camille, her being like, the henchman, almost kind of like that Wardlow kind of feel. When I look at Camille, I think, okay, that's Wardlow as a woman. And I say that with all due respect, because I say that as in that's that role that she's in right now. So I do think sooner or later, maybe we'll see a Camille versus Mercedes Moné down the line. Maybe they'll do something with that. Maybe they'll take something and build something off that. So I'm hoping they'll really do something with that storyline. But so far, I can say almost so far so good. Now, this is also another situation where I feel like it's almost the exact opposite of the Tony and Mariah situation, as to where we're seeing Mercedes and Britt Baker do a lot of promos and face-to-faces, but they're not having that interaction in the ring. We're not seeing them kind of having a little bit of a tussle in the ring. So it's kind of like, we're not seeing that, but we're hearing it. Yeah. Oh yeah. I threw that old term in for it. But we haven't really seen them actually interact in the ring. We haven't seen them really get physical at all. So we're kind of really waiting to see that. I mean, we see the chatter, we see the talk. We know y'all can both talk, but let's see some hands get thrown. You know what I'm saying? Heartbreak Prince, what's your thoughts on it, man?
Yeah, and that's what I was thinking. That's the first thing that came to mind when we were talking about Timeless Tony Storm and Mariah May needing that additional promo against each other. Was I thought about the promo that took place this week with Mercedes Moné and then Britt Baker, and I still think Mercedes Moné still needs to find her way a little bit on the promos. I mean, everything she's doing outside of the promo with the heel body language and some of the things she does is great, outstanding. But Britt Baker's promo was A1, and I loved it. and it was phenomenal. And I think that this story between these two is shaping up to make this an excellent match that I'm also excited to see, because of this story that they're telling about, Britt Baker, how she feels like, hey, I was the original here, and you just got here, and so them going back and forth, and you really try, like, I'm to the point, like, Mercedes Moné, that's my girl, but I'm kind of actually pulling for Britt on this. I like the way she's selling it. I like her story, her passion behind it, and her being the original one and all that kind of stuff. And maybe Mercedes is doing her job as kind of, being a pretty decent heel and kind of making me like, I don't kind of like the toot a little bit. But I mean, overall, everything it's been good. But I do like, I did like the promo that Britt Baker cut this week, and she showed why she is the MD.
Mr. Xclusive, what's your thoughts, man? What you think?
This beginning for Mercedes Moné has, it's been a little bit of a rough, to me, I think overall it's been a little bit of a rough run, because I still don't feel like they've been able to find that sweet spot with her just yet. People hate her. That's obvious. I mean, I wouldn't suggest people, if you're a Sasha Banks fan or a Mercedes Moné fan, I would doubt, if I was you, I would never go into any Facebook chat that has her involved or talk about her, because you're going to hear some things that you do not want to hear about one of your favorite wrestlers. And that's just kind of the way it goes with her. The annoying part of it, with her being kind of annoying and being that annoying type of heel, it's working for her, because people just absolutely, they either really love her or they really hate her, and it's been a beautiful combination package of the two. I think Dr. Britt has some really valid points in this. I think she's pushing, hey, I'm an OG here, and I should be the person that should be on top on this bad boy. So I think that part of it will work for them. If they do this right, I think this can stretch maybe a best 2 out of 3 type of thing. But I mean, they may not be able to do that if they don't want the title to change hands. But if they could do something in that style where they're just kind of going back and forth for a while to really help boost up that TBS title, they've got some people that I really like, that I think, should maybe, I really like Willow. I thought Willow should have held her title a little bit longer. I didn't like the fact that, Mercedes Moné, got to get used to that still, is the person that, that took the title from her. Obviously, I know the storyline that goes a little bit further back for them. But like I said a while ago, amongst us, they're setting things up, at some point for those 4 women to be the head honchos, or should be the head honchos in the women's division. And I think that's something that they have to continue to kind of elevate and try to make the way for those, for the talent on the, that mid-level talent to be TBS champion, to run the ship, to get to the next spot and get to the next level. So we'll see. I don't know how this one is going to play out though, in the long term. I don't have a vibe on where I think it's going to go. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with it.
Yeah, it's definitely one of those where I think it can definitely go either way. So we'll definitely see what happens. Stat Man, what's your thoughts, man? What you got?
I am hopeful, and I think we're forgetting a couple things here. There's still like some good names that are out for whatever reason it may be for the AEW women's division, and I think they're not in the sort of the same phase. I think they're further along that road, but they're still trying to find a way to legitimize that TBS way belt the same way NXT is trying to find a way to legitimize their second tier women's belt. Because, like, I'll be honest, we can kind of just scratch out, as much as I love my queen, Jade Cargill, we can kind of scratch out her whole title reign, because they were trying to build her dominant strong, and then once she lost it, she kind of was gone. So I'm not even going to count that. But, like, they're farther along that same kind of road, but they're still trying to legitimize that title. And I think right now what they're trying to do is put it on like an established name, Mercedes Moné. Makes sense. I don't hate that move. I just hate that it took them 4 months for her to actually wrestle, and then that that just annoyed the hell out of me. I cannot tell you how much that annoyed the hell out of me. And I love Britt Baker because, of course, she's the OG. She's got to represent her turf. She can't just this new thing just come in and just wreck everything. But I think like what would be fun is that I don't know if her timeline lines up, because I think this could be a fun like first story for Camille, is that Britt Baker gets help from a returning Jamie Hayter because she's injured right now. So I don't know if she's going to be able to come back in enough time to kind of give that until the next pay-per-view, because I'm not sure like if they're going to continue this after All In. I think they probably will. That might give her time to come back. If she's able to come back next week at All In, or not next week, but in a couple weeks and All In, I think it would be great because it's in England and that's where she's from. So I think that would be a good pop. I think we're also forgetting that when she comes back, they can also legitimize this whole mid card with Julia Hart, because I think she had a great reign as TBS champion. I think she was underrated and surprised the hell out of people. So like I think that could help boost this division up too as well. But for where it is right now, I think they have the chance to do something good. They're progressing really slow. Like I don't like how the progression is going. And I'm trying, as I've preached on other things that we talked about tonight, I'm trying to have faith and let it develop. But like how long is too long? And it's like what are we doing here? Like let's get to something. I'm trying to hold out hope for you guys, but like what are we doing here? I don't know. Yeah. Like, let's get to it. Let's get some action.
Nah, I feel you, man. I think that's the biggest thing. I do agree. I do think it's been a little slow, but I mean, just like Mr. Xclusive had said, one of the first episodes, we gotta look at like Christopher Daniels. I think with him being backstage, him being back there, I think he's definitely had his hand in a lot of these storylines.
Somewhere.
Yeah.
Sprinkling something in there.
A lot of stuff that I feel like has gotten so much better since he's been behind the scenes.
You talking about the Fallen Angel, Christopher Daniels?
The Fallen Angel, baby. The Fallen
Angel. He's backstage all the time. Hey, look, what we're going to do right now. I'm like, oh, man, this guy's good. He's good. You can't stop. Best general manager right now at AEW. But, I mean, we want to talk about greatness. We have got to talk about Friday Night Smackdown. I mean, what else can we really talk about when it comes to SmackDown? I mean, we started off Cody's out there, you know, saying what he got to say with the whole bloodline, Roman Reigns coming back. And then I think what's interesting, we see Kevin Owens. He's out there. He helps Cody. I got your back. Now, Cody wants to say, hey, look, Kev. Now, this is what I think is wild. First of all, Cody's out here saying, you should face me for my title. You should face me. Last time I checked, Cody, you the champ. Somebody should be telling you this. But it's okay. I'm going to let that one be whatever it is and what it is. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is why is Cody begging Kevin Owens? Now, I also think that the interesting dynamic with this is that with Kevin Owens saying, nah, I don't deserve it. I don't deserve it. I think this is one of those. I don't know. It's not called a guilt trip, but it's one of those where I'm going to keep saying no until you give me what I want. And I think that's exactly what Kevin Owens is doing here. I also think, because some people think he's going to go heel. Some people think, he might, is he going to heel? He's not. No. Let me tell you something. KO is going to turn heel. And the only thing I can say why he's going to turn heel, look at that face. Look how determined he is. He looks like this now. But I promise you, this is the same guy in 2015 in NXT that hugged his best friend. Same guy that hugged his best friend, and as soon as he turned around, threw his head right into the ring post. This is the same guy that joined the New Day for a day and turned on the New Day the same day he joined. This is the same guy. Okay, y'all need to look out for this man. He can hit this switch at any moment, and I promise you, he can get that moment just for a second with Cody Rhodes. He's going to do it again. And honestly, I'm all for it. You know why? Because Cody needs this. Heartbreak Prince, what are your thoughts on this?
This is like a mixed bag for me. Because I don't know how I like the setup for this with the KO deserving. Is he not deserving? Or I just feel like because they've hung on to this bloodline thing with Cody for so long, and now that we just had SummerSlam and that kind of finish up, they don't know where to go next. Like there was nobody like at batter up for this opportunity to start this type of confrontation with Cody. So like to me, KO's he's a face right now. So now you're gonna have two faces going against each other, which is not saying it can't happen, but it just didn't seem like they had a cohesive way or a coherent way of making this kind of happen. So it was kind of weird the way it came off. I'm happy for this for KO because we know he's gonna make it gold. He always does. I do think he will need to be heel and to kind of do his old KO devilish ways types of things. But I'm just going to see where this goes. This is another one of those things that happened this week where I was it's a little bit of a head scratcher for me because, like I said, I just didn't like the way it went about it. And I know KO mentioned something about never even getting his rematch for the title. And it kind of went back to something that was later on in the show where they talked about DIY, how they lost their titles, but now they're going through this whole number one contenders match. And I'm like, well, how come they just don't get a rematch for their belts? They were like, oh, they tried to write it off and say, oh, maybe because they only held it for 3 weeks. It's some funny stuff going on that I'm not quite understanding. But I mean, listen, I'm gonna see where it goes because again, it's KO and he deserves that respect, and so I'm gonna give it to him.
I feel that, man. I feel that. It's definitely a weird one. That's why I said like it feels weird with Cody begging Kevin Owens like, yeah, you should pay. Like, why are you? It looks crazy. Again, Cody want to be the fighting champion. I get it, but yeah, no. When you're begging people to, it's like, nah, bro. You shouldn't.
The champion don't beg.
Yeah, the champ. You're not supposed to be doing that, and that just looks. It looks crazy. I mean, you got what you want.
Yeah.
But be careful because you might get what you want. Mr. Xclusive, what's your thoughts, man?
So, first of all, when I first saw it, I'm like, he's begging Kevin Owens here. He's begging Kevin Owens, the sexiest last name in wrestling. You already know. He's begging this man to go against him in a title match. Now, I give Kevin Owens credit here because what nobody's realized Kevin Owens is doing is Kevin Owens is trying to show restraint because Kevin Owens knows what is going to happen if he becomes or he gets this title shot. He knows he's going to revert back to the old Kevin. He doesn't want to revert back to the old Kevin. That is why he's like, you know what? I'm not deserving of this. He's trying to stay a good guy. They're trying to put him in a place where he's not a good guy. That's where this is leading to. That's why he was pushing it away. But you notice as soon as Aldis had said something about giving Roman the title shot, and you saw the look in his eyes like, whoa, wait a minute here. I know you're not going to give it to the guy. There's a whole bunch of guys back here deserving. So he's like, I'd rather take the shot than let Roman have the shot. And so that's how they convinced this man to do it. But the whole time he's holding back this demon. He doesn't want to unleash the sexiest last name in wrestling. He doesn't want to do that. But they want him to be evil KO. He don't want that. He trying his best to stay nice, calm, relax. Good guy KO, face KO. But they're trying to bring out the heel. He knows that's what's going to happen if he has this match. And so I think he was just trying to hold back on it. He's like, I just don't want to do this. I don't want to be heel KO, but you guys are forcing me to do it. You're forcing me to be heel KO.
Give me what I want.
Give me what I want. I will say this to say all that. I just don't. Cody's reign is getting worse and worse. And I know that's not what a lot of people want to hear. And I know he's selling all the t-shirts and I know the kids love him, but it's getting worse because they're in a spot where they don't know what to do with him challenger wise, because we all know, and we've talked about this on the show before, it's either going to be The Rock or Roman that people care about who he's facing. They don't care about anybody else. They can bring Seth Rollins over there, doesn't make a difference. They can bring Drew McIntyre over there, doesn't make a difference. The only two people that matter when it comes to Cody Rhodes and that championship are The Rock and Roman Reigns. They built the whole story around it. They can put anybody in there they want to. They could bring, God rest his soul, they could bring the Macho Man Randy Savage back from the dead. It is not going to happen. It would not matter. They could bring Dusty. They could say, we're bringing your dad back. Your dad is going to be the one that goes out here and face you. That's what they could do that, and it still wouldn't make a difference because there's only two people that people care about that they want to see in this title match between him, and that's The Rock and Roman. Until that happens, it really doesn't even matter. They're trying to force title matches, and they don't have anything for them, which is crazy for the WWE World Champion to not have that. And it's almost like how Priest's reign was going to an extent. You know, now it's like, and I don't think there's nobody that can take it from him and is going to feel okay, except for those two people.
Yeah.
That's just me.
Yeah. Hey, I definitely agree with you. I do feel like in some ways it's gotten worse. Just like we've been saying, it's hard to find a contender for him. It's hard to kind of like have somebody that can really go up against him. And it's not like he's a hard contender. It's just like, who can we have who can we write in that'll actually work? You know, we've said it before, AJ Styles was nice, and you know, now you got Solo, but it's like, hey, I think with Kevin Owens, hopefully, if things work out right, if he does turn and switch, I think it could be good. Statman, what's your thoughts on this, man? What you got?
I think people should stop whining about Cody's title reign. Is it weak? Yes, but like if you were really paying attention, this was just about the story to get to the title, not what he's doing with it once he got it. This was all about the climb on the mountain, man. What he does to stay on top, it is what it is. They're just, I think, at least what I hope they're doing is they're just trying to find people who can have good matches with, somewhat believable story until they figure out how to get the title back on Roman or somebody else that's legitimate. Because, like you said, boss, the only people that they really think of when they think of who's going to take that belt is Roman or Rock, and Roman just came back, and he's got to figure that out with the fake bloodline, the synthetic bloodline. Figure that out.
The O positive bloodline.
I'm about to say, bro, that fake out of nowhere bloodline. But like they got to figure that out, and I can't wait for that match at Survivor Series because that's probably what we're leading to. But like, I'm not surprised. Like that we're in this situation with Cody because it's like there was so much built up to that whole storyline in WrestleMania season, the build up to it, which is probably still one of the better build ups to WrestleMania I've ever seen in my life. And my whole time of watching wrestling. I'm not surprised that we're falling flat. Yeah, it was glorious. It was almost as good as the Rock Stone Cold promo from WrestleMania 17 because that will never be topped in my eyes ever. That level of height going into a match and the execution of it over 2 nights, I thought was god darn perfect. But like, what did you guys expect? Like, I would ask someone seriously, what did you expect them to do? Like, did you really think like he was going to get the belt and like, I don't know, lose it within 6 months? Because that was not going to happen. They're making a ridiculous amount of money just like selling merch, selling tickets, people come to see him alone. And just like, if anything, I'm mad at Cody because he lied to us and said he was going to bring back the wing belt. I'm still waiting on that. Like, where's that? I want the wing belt back. Like, he lied to me, bro. Like, I know he's from Atlanta. Like, I know where Raw's going to be next week. I know where SmackDown's going to be. Like, I'll find him and ask him, like, where's my wing belt at, bro? I need that back. But, like, this is exactly what we were looking into. This whole Cody championship reign was about the story and the feeling we got when he saw him get the belt and the memories of Dusty never being able to get the belt. This was all about that one moment, and I felt that coming. So I am not surprised at all that like this whole title reign is kind of a dud, and we're just trying to figure out what to do and who's believable and taking it back. Because like at the same time, if we're saying Rock and Roman are going to get it back, then it's just like, well, shoot, we just saw Roman have 2 belts for like 3 or 4 years. This is stale as all hell. And then like Rock is, I don't think people realize Rock is in his 50s. Like that dude should be nowhere near a title belt. Like him coming back and force his way into the title picture just because he's on the board now, I thought was just a worse than when he did to the CM Punk a couple like 10 years ago when he forced his way out of popularity to get that belt at the time. I think it's worse than that just because like he's not going to hold it forever. He's way past his prime. And they saw when he had the belt before 10 years ago, he got hurt and it messed up a movie and production and all that kind of stuff. And like, let's not get into that. Like, come on now, people. He shouldn't be anywhere near the belt. Like, and for that matter of fact, I don't think John Cena should be near the belt in his last year of wrestling too. I'll just say that the record should be at 16. Leave it alone. Whatever. But we'll talk about on another day, another episode. Not here for another one. But like, what did you guys expect? Like, why are we surprised about Cody having a stale title reign? Like, what did you guys honestly expect? Like,
I'm not surprised. It's just sad that it's happening.
Of course it's sad because of how much
happening.
Like it's incredibly sad because like how much we put into it, how much emotionally we invested into this over the last 2.5 years, and like just the injury he had after he came back, and then like. I'll be honest. I think the torn pec match at Hell in a Cell almost made this worse because it just made the build up even more. And it's just like, come on now, like what are we doing here? Like let's do something. I'm just gonna try and enjoy matches as they come, and just like I'm expecting the worst, hoping for the best in this title reign. That's all I can say.
Yeah, I agree. Well, we'll have to kind of see where it goes because I think for the most part, it could definitely be some magic. I think maybe this could be the thing that Cody needs to kind of get him over that low hump that kind of is making him look stale. I think this could be something that can definitely push him to the next level. But if we're going to talk about next level, talk about it real quick. My man, LA Knight, champ. Yeah. Let me tell you something. My man cut a promo, and he literally just pretty much said everything he's done, he hit it and quit it. He hit it and quit it. And I said to myself, I don't know what else this man has to say every day, every time of his life, but it just comes out as gold. I mean, just like we talked about last week, we are seeing the mid-card guys really getting established on SmackDown. We're seeing who's really coming out. The first guy that came out was Santos Escobar. We know Carmelo Hayes has always been a contender, especially when he comes to the LA Knight. They've already been having their feud here and there. I mean, we got to look at it, though. I think for the most part, this is something that is definitely going to be a long reign with this title. I can't see him like having it for a couple of months and they're like, nah, that's it. I know for a fact. I can feel it. And every time I've seen this man, even as Eli Drake on Impact, he's always had lengthy title runs. And there's a reason for it. I mean, look at him. He's a superstar. He's made for it. If you don't believe it, look some more. Because that's he's one of the best ones out here right now that's been grinding. Come on. I mean, come on. Heartbreak Prince, what's your thoughts on it? Speak your piece.
Just to keep it quick, I love the segment. I thought the promo LA Knight gold that he cut was gold as usual. I almost thought we were going to get another projection right because we said that we thought his first like title defense or whatever may come against him, but unfortunately it wasn't that wasn't the case because we also brought up El Idolo, and so the promo from LA Knight gold. Santos Escobar, El Idolo put together a great match. And then he kind of had that extra story play with it come in with Carmelo Hayes coming in and kind of playing a role in it. But yeah, I think this is what the U.S. title needed. Somebody like LA Knight to carry it. I think we need to give it a long reign because it will kind of bring some attention back to that title. And I think that's the way to go nowadays with these titles because, when they get passed around so quickly, it really kind of loses the luster. And I think that's one of the problems with the tag team belts across all divisions of wrestling right now. And that's something for another day. But with this right here, I hope they do it right with the U.S. title. Let LA Knight, continue to cook. And we've got a lot of mid-card wrestlers that can really put on some good matches with LA Knight. And so We're gonna see where it goes.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing. I think they've kind of already established that so far. And it seems like, they got some contenders. But we'll definitely see. Mr. Exclusive, what you think? What's your thoughts, man?
I'm gonna stay on the Elwood train here and kind of keep it short and sweet. But I will say this, we talked about a little bit last week and what Triple H has done, and he's doing it all across the board. If you go back and just really look, he's trying to find it to where it's a multitude of people that could easily be a champion in that division, and it works. If you go through and look, he's been doing that. Maybe not in every spot just yet, but he's getting there. I think he's still got to work on doing that on the Intercontinental side right now. There's some people that's probably like in the wings, but they just haven't started building that. But as you can see, there's 3 or 4 contenders for the U.S. title right now that could go for the title, and you'd be like, okay, this is happening right now. This is good. I don't see him. This is a long reign, in my opinion. I think you have to have a long reign, at least till WrestleMania at the minimum. I think that it's a perfect way to go. And that's not even including Logan Paul in this. He could always come back and say, I want my title back, da, 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 da. But they did a really good job of building this up. And I think he's really going to carry this. And for the first time since probably mid 2000s, the mid-card titles are doing what they're supposed to do, and they're supposed to go to the best wrestler, the best person that can kind of just run that ship in between the middle. It's always went that way, and back in the day, it was the Bret Harts, or it would be the Stone Colds, or it would be the Mr. Perfects of the world. And I think they're getting back to that, which is a good thing. And they're having a multitude of people that could do that. So it always went to that person who they feel like that could best carry a belt. And then, the big belt always went to the person that brings you the money. And so I think that's kind of where they're going with it. And I like what they're doing.
I feel that one, man. Stat Man, what you think? What's your thoughts?
Well, let me talk to you.
Yeah.
I think, first off, and again, I hate to be so negative, but I haven't been on the show yet, so I got to get it out. I think they gave him this belt almost a year too late. Do I love it? Yes. But is it too late? It was very late. Not too late, but it was late. My man deserved that belt like a year ago at the height of his prime. I would have been okay with him breaking Gunther's record before he even had it. But I love it. I think LA Knight is just insanely talented, and just his ability to get over, even like in the promo he had last night, he stumbled a little bit. I don't know if too many people caught it, but he stumbled a little bit. But he was able to just get over it and get to the next line and make that a saying, and probably make a new T-shirt out of that promo right there. So he's going to bring you some money too. But I love LA Knight. I love his whole package. I like it's Eli Drake and WWE, and now that they're about to move to a new network, you got to splat and make some new stars. You got to have some new people to show up at this new network, because we're less than a month away from going to a new channel. So they're maybe losing a couple people. Who knows? Their viewers. But I'm excited for where this can go, because I hope it's not a short reign. Do I think it's going to be Gunther reign length? No, I don't. But I think if he loses it, say before the Royal Rumble, I think that would be disappointed if he doesn't hold on to it at least until the Rumble. But I don't know too many people who haven't been a fan of LA Knight over the last year, since the mysterious disappearance of Max Dupree, thank God. But I don't know too many people who aren't a fan of LA Knight and his whole package, especially if you were watching them, Eli Drake back in TNA and Impact.
Come on now.
I love it, man. Yeah.
That's right.
Dummy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Dummy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Dummy.
Yeah.
It's his whole package is great, because
bring the button back.
He's got enough skill to get over in the ring, but he's got the mic to get everyone on his side no matter what he does in the ring anyway. Whether he has the spots and the tricks and all that and whatnot, he doesn't. He doesn't have that. But he's like a different version of the Miz. Where he may not be the most flashy in the ring, but he's gonna work, and he's got a good enough mic skills to make you like his character enough to want to see his matches and want to see him as a champion. And how long are we gonna? Again, hate to be negative, but how long are we going to let Logan Paul hold that belt ransom? Because as much as he could be a full-time superstar, it had to go back to an actual wrestler sooner or later, and I'm just glad it was him. I'm glad it was
Yep.
LA Knight.
Yep.
It just feels so right. Like the world is almost in a good place right now. Screw all the other bad stuff going on in the world. LA Knight has a title right now. People like let's just be happy at that. Let's be happy.
For real. Let's be for real. No, I mean, and I think this is great. You're right. This is the perfect timing. I will always still say the fact that Michael Cole has overshadowed one of his other title runs that they don't even want to talk about, the $1 million belt. But again, I think with this, I would say this will probably, I think he'll have maybe like a solid, maybe 9 months. I would say maybe. We're in August, so maybe till Rumble. I would expect him to maybe lose it a little bit before Rumble, and maybe he wins the Royal Rumble, possibly. I kind of put that United States title on, not all the time, but sometimes I put it on that same level as the IC title. And sometimes you can win that, you might be up next. Now, usually I feel like with the Intercontinental belt, you're definitely guaranteed. But with the United States belt, sometimes, when you look at some of the patterns, it's happened. It's definitely happened. So
you kind of needed to put it on that same level as the IC title, though, because like you look at it like that IC title, when you look at the history of it, it's been around for 40 plus years right now, and the US title itself has been in WWE for legitimately
20?
maybe 25 years.
Mhm.
Because I think it's 2002 they shut down WCW and they took that belt over. And it's like that. It's still kind of a teenager if you compare it to Intercontinental, because Intercontinental's been around since 1979. Pat Patterson back in the day. But like that, the lineage of that title is legit, and like I think they still want to. They're still trying, in some sort of sense, to build up the U.S. title in the same way. Because like you look at like Miz and his reigns, Jericho and his reigns. Kurt Angle had a decent reign as IC champion, I believe, and just like the history behind that belt is amazing. And you can't look at the U.S. title the same, but like they wanted it to be. So like sometimes you got to put it on the same pedestal.
Yeah, no, you're 100% right. You're 100% right. So I think he's definitely gonna be on that next level sooner or later. We definitely got to see that coming, man. He's up next. I mean, he's there at this point now, but I think he's definitely up next to be that top guy. Definitely within the next year or so. But I mean, if we're gonna talk about top guys, we're gonna talk about the guy, because at one point he did say he was the guy. I'm hitting y'all with some old Roman Reigns. If y'all want to talk about some fans, we can talk about the big dog. We can talk about the Roman Empire. Now, that being said, let's really talk about this, okay? The OTC, the original, the only tribal chief is back and has returned. Now, this is a big deal. We've seen this on SummerSlam. He popped up, hits a Superman punch on Solo, and hits a spear. Now you pop back up on SmackDown, do even more damage. I mean, to the point you're sitting there hitting Tama Tonga with some steps. Now I'm not gonna lie, that looked a little personal, but that's for another day. Now I will also say for Tonga Loa, I said to myself, well, please don't botch and mess this one up for my man Roman's return, and he didn't, and I'm proud of it. Because now at this point, you didn't look stupid. You didn't look unserious. I mean, you still got the eye patch. It is what it is. But, at the same time, this was great for Roman. Roman comes back. I mean, he lays havoc on everybody. And then he grabs it. The one thing that solidifies him as the tribal chief. Now, they teased this. We looked at this, and the first thing I thought to myself was, well, maybe we're looking at something at the end of the Samoan Civil War. And I thought to myself, you know what? This might be the end to that chapter, maybe War Games. I love what they're doing with this right now. This is something that the Bloodline truly needed right now. Some people didn't like how the Bloodline was going. I think so far it was okay. It showed that SmackDown's still thriving without Roman, that it can survive without him, and it still works. But to see him come back, that pop, I mean, he's really a face right now. I mean, this is what they wanted from him 10 years ago when he first was like without the Shield by himself. This is what they wanted from him. This is the reaction that they wanted. This is where they wanted him to be 10 years ago. And now he's there. He's there full circle. He did it his way for 3 to 4 years, and it worked. And it worked, and look at it now. This man is probably the biggest babyface without even the man didn't say anything. He never even said he was the OTC. The crowd was already chanting it. I mean, I don't know what else to tell you, but it is greatness amongst you. That also being said, this man's got aura. He's got a vibe. He's just got something about him that just can't be explained. I mean, I don't know what else to tell you. The man is greatness itself. Mr. Xclusive, what are your thoughts on the Tribal Chief's return?
Oh, well, I mean, it's greatness personified. This is something that is, like you said, I know we spoke about it, I believe, last week, but they've been, or at least on the SummerSlam, on the recap, this is what they've wanted the entire time. They wanted Roman to be that guy, and be the super. They wanted him to be the John Cena replacement. Maybe not as cheesy, but they wanted him to be that, and he's that now. And he hasn't had to say a word. He hasn't said anything. He walked out. He walked to the ring. He wrecked shop. What was the shirt that he said back a couple years ago?
Smash them, stack them, pin them.
There you go. Thank you, sir. And that's exactly in the mode that he's in right now. He ain't had to say anything. I was kind of hoping that at some point, maybe if Paul Heyman would have came back out with him, that would have been cool. But it's coming, and when it does come, it's going to be amazing. No Diddy. But I'm excited for it, and I cannot wait to see what everything kind of translate how everything works out. And it's just the beginning, man. We're setting full steam ahead for the Civil War. I can't wait to see who's going to be the new pieces of the puzzle of this Civil War. And this is what wrestling is all about. You don't know how it's going to happen. The way wrestling is now, you don't know how it's going to happen. There was years where everything was coming out and you just knew what was going to happen, or you can just kind of like guesstimate it. Here, it feels different, even though you kind of know that the way they're doing it, you still just don't know, because things could still change, and it's a little bit more secretive than it was maybe like 5 or 6 years ago, and that's what I like about it. So I can't wait to see what we got. Let's keep it rolling. Let's get Roman rolling. I'm ready for it. Let's go.
Heartbreak Prince, what you think, man? What's your thoughts?
Great television, great entertainment. Roman comes out, crowd goes nuts. You can feel the energy. I know he had goosebumps, just that crowd reaction. You can really tell he was feeding off of it. It's kind of, it's crazy again that we are at this point where, the crowd is begging for Roman Reigns, and now they're even accepting him as a face, something that they tried for years to shove down our throats, and we rejected it over and over and over. And now he comes out here without having to say a word, and everybody is recognizing him as the OTC, whether that be the only tribal chief or whether it be the original tribal chief. All we want to see him do now is smash him, stack him, pin him, because he's Roman Reigns and he's always been levels above.
That's right, baby. Over the counter, baby. Let's go. Over the counter, baby. Let's get it. Let's go. The OTC is back.
Let's go.
Need them drugs.
Man, what's your thoughts, man? What you think?
I saw a meme, and that's mostly what my life is, just watching TikToks and looking on Facebook for memes. But I think Thanos or Roman Reigns is in his Thanos era, because the meme I saw was him trying to get this back is going to be bigger than Thanos trying to complete the Infinity Gauntlet. And I 100% will live that for the rest of the year until he completes the mission. I am so behind whatever they're going to do, because there's so much to do. And like, I don't know if I've ever been so thankful for a family being like this big, and because it's creating endless possibilities. Because like, we've all heard that Hikuleo's been signed and he's being held back until the right time. Same thing they did with Jacob Fatu. They held him until the right time, until the story comes back. Jay is just staying popular enough on Raw to keep him relevant to come back over on SmackDown because it's gonna happen. Like they're gonna bring him back to SmackDown somehow. I don't know how it's gonna happen, and I'm excited about that. Jimmy is still out hurt or doing whatever he's doing, so he's gonna come back. And like we saw a couple weeks ago the Tonga twins, the first possible female members of the bloodline. I think they could branch out and do that too as well. But like I love this story, man. I'm so happy, and wrestling is cool again. It's fun. I like it, and I just want to see what happens. I just want to watch more Roman Reigns, Tribal Chief. Put them ones up in the sky.
Yeah.
Acknowledge the Tribal Chief.
That's
Right?
the best thing about it, man. Honestly, that's what I'm saying, man. We gotta really look at it. Like, I think that's what makes it so good about Roman right now. Like, we've seen him in those times that, like, when it was rough, when it was like, dude, I don't want to see you in the ring, on the mic. I don't want to see you do a thing at all. But now, 10 years later, if you told me this is what he would be, I'd be like, man, well, just take me there now because I can't take what he is now. What he's got is gold. The bloodline is gold. I think even with Jacob Fatu doing this thing. Now, I did see some stuff. I don't think he's injured. I do think it is a work, even though we've seen him with the picture with somebody in the fan with a boot on. I think that's also a work. And then we haven't seen it. We didn't see him on SmackDown either. But I think that's something you want to avoid because you got somebody like Jacob Fatu and you got somebody like Roman Reigns staring face to face. You might want to save that for Mania. You might want to save that for a SummerSlam or a Royal Rumble. You might want to save that for one of your bigger pay-per-views. You don't want to put that on a weekly show. Now, not saying that nobody would want to see that. And that being said, my man Roman was destroying the Tonga twins. It was insane. So I wouldn't have wanted to see Jacob Fatu like that. So I think they're playing that as well, like really well to make him still look strong and not really be used in a way to where he looks weak or is getting beat by Roman. And I think that's fine. You can do that with Tama Tonga and Tonga Loa. That's cool because they tag team with whatever. That's how they handle tag teams nowadays. But I think what they did with just protecting Jacob, maybe he is going to be the new enforcer. Maybe he'll be the new. I think sometimes it's almost like, because we talked about it too, like, we said that, with Solo being there, we thought Solo's going to be the guy. Okay, now you get Solo, but now we got Jacob. Now they're saying, oh, maybe Jacob's the new guy. At this point, how many enforcers are we going to be saying is the next up to be the Tribal Chief? Now, I do think if you put Jacob Fatu in that spot, I think he can definitely thrive a little bit more than Solo. Not to say that I don't think Solo's doing bad. I think he's doing great. I think it's just, they're just trying to figure it out, get Roman back, and Roman is back. So I think now the story gets better. I think it just increases and gets just a great overall story. I think we're going to get that, like, throughout the rest of this year, maybe all the way to Survivor Series, to be honest. So you got to look out for it, man. I'll look out for it.
I want to say one thing, though. Like, I think what you're saying, to your point, Jacob was probably better in that enforcer role than Solo because they built it better. When Solo came up as the enforcer, he was kind of beating up on the mid-card, low-level guys that were going after Roman. When Jacob Fatu showed up, he put Cody through a table and damaged and gave him an injury. He went after the number one guy. It made him way more believable as the enforcer, and I just think that's where they are. And I'm not going to let him go, too. I got to let it. I can't let it slide. Tonga Loa did screw up this week, and he held the belt all weird and wrong. I have to say that out loud. Like, that man doesn't. He can't find a way to screw up in the ring, so he has to find a way to screw up holding the damn belt. That man, I can't. Like, no, he's getting paid to screw things up every week. Even just holding the belt. Like, get your stuff together, bro. Come on now.
I feel like it's on purpose at this point. Like, it doesn't. He's a better wrestler than this. Something's going on. Like, I don't understand what's happening, but I think it's on purpose at this point.
It's wild. I feel like it might have been a mistake a couple of times, and they probably started seeing on social media. They say, you know what? Just mess up on purpose. Just do whatever you want. Let's see if somebody knows. There it is.
He's jealous because they wanted Tama Tonga more than him.
That's what it is. Hey. But, we had a great discussion. We talked about, every brand, everything this week. But, we're towards that time. Let's see who really knows that wrestling.
Yeah, we got to find out. And we got to tell him also about last week's. That's why we got Statman here, baby. Statman gonna make sure he give us all the answers.
All right, Stat Man, give us that question one more time. Maybe we could figure this one out at this time.
Yeah, well, I'll give him the answer to the first one last week because I wasn't here for that. That was on me. Last week we had the question of the 4 consecutive NFL stadiums. Can you name the 3 other and how many 3 other NFL teams that those stadiums belong to, and how many Super Bowl rings they have combined? So this year we were in Cleveland. That's an obvious giveaway. Cleveland Browns. Last year was Ford Field, the Lions. Year before that, Triple H's first SummerSlam in Nashville. That was the Tennessee Titans. And then the year before that, Allegiant Stadium, the Raiders. And the only team to win a Super Bowl between those 3 was the Raiders, and they have 3 total. So there's the answer for that. Didn't want to leave y'all hanging. Sorry to give y'all a football one, but I'm just happy football's back.
Yeah.
But this week's question again: there have been 7 women to win a men's title, and we'll say men's title because honestly, God, there's women now that could compete for that now. But there's 7 women to win a title that weren't a women's title. Can you name the last one, and which title was it?
Oh,
Okay.
Eric going first. Okay.
Okay. Here we go. So, I hope this isn't an obvious one. I'm going to go with Dana Brooke with the 24/7 champion.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
Yeah.
I think that's the
last,
most recent one I can remember. But I feel like knowing the stat man, that's not the right answer.
That's what I was going to go with.
So I'm going to stick with Dana Brooke with the 24/7 champion. But we'll see if you give me a monkey wrench.
Heartbreak. What you got?
I'm on E Train.
Don't even ask me. I'm the same too.
Yeah.
Look, that's what I was gonna say.
He's the last person I can think held the title. Yeah, that wasn't a women's championship.
So that's technically, I guess you could say, the right answer. But I don't think anyone took that belt serious, so I immediately said no. I'll be honest. Yeah, no, I wrote WWE history myself and ignored that belt altogether. Unless we're talking about the 5,700 reigns of the greatest champion of all time, R-Truth. Then that belt is just null and void.
Who to who?
But the answer I was specifically looking for was in 2004.
China.
Future WWE Hall of Famer Jacqueline won the Cruiserweight Championship.
Okay. Yep.
Shout out to Jacqueline.
And the bonus points was, could you name the no-name wrestler that won a male championship? And that was, for lack of a better term, one of Godfather's associates won the Hardcore Championship.
That's right.
Remember that one?
I do remember that. That's crazy. I forgot about that completely.
That was a deep cut because it was. I want to say that was not at WrestleMania 18, but like before then. I want to say like a year within that same period of time, like a year or two before then. It was one of Godfather's associates pinned Crash Holly. How about that for a deep cut for the
hardcore championship?
Hardcore, yeah. Oh, hardcore
Holly. You know, my answer ain't gonna be too simple. I'm gonna make this. I'm trying to make this hard, bro.
That's what I said. I knew it. I was like, nah.
That's why we had to have you, Russ.
I was like, that Dana Brooke one was like, I said that's what I thought it was. I was like, yeah, it'd be Dana Brooke.
Yeah,
but I feel you.
Dana Brooke, Rob Gronkowski, and everyone sharing the title. That don't make it don't make it worth my time. Come on now. Yeah. Let's be honest.
That's fair.
Right. That don't worth my time. Nope.
But yeah, there was that. Of course, everyone knows China. Medusa won a men's championship. Daphne also won a men's championship. You remember her because I believe she died recently too as well. Rest in peace. I'm trying to remember those women.
Blanchard won the
Tessa Blanchard.
Yep.
Specifically WWE titles. That's what I was going for.
Oh, okay.
But yes, Tessa Blanchard is the reason why I thought of that. In her in China, but of course China was the easy one, so I couldn't just say name a woman who's won a men's championship. That was
China.
Touche. That would have been easy.
But yeah,
Hey.
to I guess preview next week's question. Next week's question is going to be based on triple crowns and grand slams. I'll say that to give you.
Okay.
Oh,
Okay. All right. Cool.
okay.
Cool.
Okay,
Cool.
I'm with
Look.
that. I'm with that. All right, because I'll definitely, yeah. All right, that's good. Well, shoot, I think we had a great discussion. I mean, we talked about a lot of great stuff we've been talking about, but stuff that we've been seeing progress. It's gotten better. We've been watching these storylines progress over these last few weeks, and I mean, it has been A1, as the Heartbreak Prince would always say. Guys, you gotta like us, you gotta subscribe to us, give us some comments, follow us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram, follow us on Twitter. Oh, I'm sorry, X. I mean, we're all over.
Yeah. X.
We are all over, guys. Check us out. We're always here. But as always, we are the Exclusive Nights podcast, where the nights will
Will never
be
the same.
Yeah. No night is like any night, baby. Let's get it.